I never thought I'd see the day when someone tried to evict me from the very house I legally owned, only to discover that I actually owned her house too. In front of the whole HOA, the president who spent weeks harassing me collapsed under the weight of her own arrogance. Her empire of rules crumbled in seconds. Act 1. The First Signs. My name is Malik Patterson. I'm 35. I work in finance, and after years of grinding, I finally bought the home I'd been dreaming about, a 2-story brick place in Brentwood Estates, Tennessee. It had everything I wanted: a wraparound porch, a neat little backyard, a neighborhood that looked straight out of a postcard. When I moved in, boxes still lined the driveway. I remember thinking, this is it, peace at last. But peace didn't last. From day one, I felt eyes on me. Curtains twitching, people staring just a second too long as they walked their dogs. Nobody introduced themselves. Nobody said welcome. Just silence. The next morning, silence broke. A sharp knock at the door. There she was. Mid-60s, gray hair pinned back neatly, pearl earrings, and a little pin with the HOA emblem shining on her cardigan. Clipboard in hand, posture stiff. "Good morning," she said crisply. "I'm Barbara Whitman, president of the Brentwood Estates Homeowners Association." I forced a smile, offered my hand. "Nice to meet you. I'm Malik." "I know who you are," she cut me off, eyes sliding past me into the house. Then she handed me a thick stack of documents. HOA guidelines. "We like to maintain a certain standard here." She didn't waste a second before pointing at the moving truck in my driveway. "I assume that'll be gone by this evening." "Yeah, once I finish unpacking." She nodded, but it wasn't satisfaction, it was a mental note. Then she added, "And your trash bins placed too early last night. They must not be out before 6 a.m. on collection day." I tried to explain the bins were left there by the previous owner, but she'd already turned to leave. Her final words, "We have rules for a reason." I closed the door slowly, exhaling. Okay, I thought. She's particular. Plenty of HOA presidents are. No big deal. But it didn't stop. The notices started coming. A warning about an unauthorized vehicle in my driveway, my own car. A citation for lawn maintenance. The grass was maybe an inch taller than regulation. A letter about my porch light being too bright, the same light fixture the previous owners had used for years. By the end of week 1, I had a neat little pile of violation letters, all signed by Barbara Whitman. At first, I kept my cool. Maybe this was how she treated everyone. But then I took a walk one morning and saw dozens of trash bins, still out lids, propped open bags spilling over. Not one of those neighbors had a violation notice taped to their door. Just me. That's when I realized it wasn't about rules. It was about me. Act 2. The escalation. I started documenting everything. Photos, timestamps, examples of neighbors breaking the same rules I was being cited for. I emailed the board politely asking why I was being singled out. No response. 2 days later, Barbara was back. She didn't knock this time, just stood there on my porch, clipboard in hand. "This is a formal request," she said, holding up a paper for you to submit proof of home ownership. My stomach tightened. "Proof of ownership? I bought this house fair and square." "We've had complaints," she said smoothly. "Unusual activity. Different cars, furniture deliveries, concerns you may be renting illegally." I laughed short and sharp. "I own this place. Been here less than a month, still moving in. Those cars are family. Those deliveries are mine." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "We'll need documentation." "You can pull the records yourself," I told her. "It's public." She narrowed her eyes. "I'd prefer you submit it directly. And if I don't," her smile stretched cold, "then I'll have no choice but to escalate." That's when it hit me. She wanted me angry, defensive, desperate. She wanted to push me until I snapped. I forced a smile instead. "I'll think about it." Then I shut the door. She didn't like that. The next morning, a thick envelope showed up in my mailbox from a law firm. Inside, an official complaint filed with the housing authority accusing me of occupying the property fraudulently. Barbara had escalated all right. She was trying to evict me from my own home. I sat at my kitchen table, papers spread out, hands tightening into fists. A part of me whispered, "Maybe it isn't worth it. Maybe just sell, move, start over." For a minute I believed that voice. I felt beaten, outnumbered, like no matter what I did, she'd find another way to bury me. But then I caught sight of the deed framed on my wall. My name, my signature, my house. I'd worked too damn hard to let her steal it from me with threats and lies. That's when the doubt burned off. I picked up the phone. "Hey, Joe," I said when my attorney answered. "I need a favor." Joe Martinez, sharp, relentless, the kind of lawyer who made sharks look tame. If Barbara wanted war, I was done playing defense. Act 3. The Showdown. The HOA called an emergency meeting. The room was packed, neighbors whispering, waiting for drama. Barbara sat at the head of the table, perfect posture, stack of papers in front of her. She cleared her throat. "We're here to address ongoing violations and concerns regarding Mr. Patterson's residence." "I'd like to speak," I interrupted. My voice was calm but firm. Her lips thinned. "You'll have a chance after—" "No, I'm speaking now." A murmur spread. Even the board members shifted uncomfortably. Barbara gestured stiffly. "Proceed." I set a stack of documents on the table. "This," I said, holding up the first page, "is my deed. Legal proof that I own 214 Oakwood Drive. Filed, recorded, indisputable." Whispers. Heads turned. Barbara's jaw tightened. I laid down another paper. "And this is the purchase agreement for 24 Oakwood Drive." Confusion flickered in her eyes. Then I pulled out the final page. "And this is the deed for 26 Oakwood Drive. Your house, Barbara." The room went dead silent. Her mouth opened. No words came. Finally, in a tight whisper, I folded my arms. "That foreclosure you ignored, the property sale you didn't attend, I was the buyer. I own your house." Gasps, stunned faces. Papers rustled as board members leaned in reading. I tilted my head. "So tell me, Barbara, who's the trespasser now?" Her face drained of color, but I wasn't finished. I tapped another document. "And one more thing. You accused me of fraudulent occupancy, tried to evict me from my own home. Yet here's proof you're behind on over $3,000 in unpaid HOA fees." The board erupted in murmurs. The Vice President, Stephen, adjusted his glasses, frowning. "Barbara, is this true?" She stammered. "That's a lie. It's public record," I cut in. "You enforced rules that don't exist, filed false complaints, and now it turns out you can't even follow your own." Neighbors shifted, whispers growing louder. For weeks they'd watched in silence, but now exposed Barbara looked small, pathetic. One voice from the back broke the tension. Mr. Holloway, an old-timer, shook his head. "You really tried to evict the man who owns your house?" Scattered chuckles, then laughter. The tide had turned. Stephen cleared his throat. "By majority vote, Barbara Whitman is hereby removed as president of the Brentwood Estates HOA, effective immediately." The sound of the gavel might as well have been a coffin lid slamming shut. Barbara's face burned red. She shoved her papers into a folder, muttering, "This meeting is adjourned." Then she stormed out, heels clicking, but for the first time no one followed her. And just like that, the woman who thought she could run me out of the neighborhood lost everything. Her power, her title, even her house. Final line. When people try to weaponize rules to control you, remember real power comes from knowing the truth, standing your ground, and refusing to let fear decide where you belong.